Today on the Daily Scoop podcast from the Scoop News Group. Calls for government action grow louder amid frequent cloud outages. And a bipartisan Senate bill calls for agencies to report on AI-related job cuts. It's Thursday, November 6th, 2025. Welcome to the Daily Scoop podcast, where you'll hear the latest news and trends facing government leaders. I'm the host of the Daily Scoop podcast, Billy Mitchell. Thanks so much for joining me. Now let's dive into the day's top headlines. When a pair of high-profile internet outages took down large chunks of the internet last month, the events briefly brought hundreds of organizations to a near halt and prevented millions of users from accessing core services for everyday business needs. From Starbucks to crypto exchanges to the messaging app Signal, the outages rippled across nearly every sector, shining a spotlight onto the nation's and even the government's reliance on a mere handful of cloud service providers. In the wake of those incidents, watchdog groups are calling on federal regulators to scrutinize the role that massive cloud companies like Amazon and Microsoft play in owning and maintaining much of our collective back-end IT infrastructure. Meanwhile, technology and cybersecurity experts point out that because of financial and business realities, there were very few alternatives to the large companies that now dominate the market. The Amazon Web Services outage began October 19th and lasted into October 20th. And according to Amazon's postmortem, a single software bug in DynamoDB, the system that messages website addresses along with efforts to repair it, caused all services in the Northern Virginia region that relied on the tool to go down for 15 hours. Just over a week later, Microsoft Azure's cloud platform experienced an outage impacting several of its services. And according to Microsoft, an inadvertent tenant configuration change occurred in Azure Front Door, the company's content delivery network. The outages exposed just how fragile the country's digital infrastructure is and showed the risks of letting a few companies hold so much power. As a result, some groups are urging federal regulators to address the issue. And in a latest move, a coalition of advocacy groups, including Public Citizen and the Tech Oversight Project, sent a letter to the Federal Trade Commission, arguing that AWS's hours-long outage October 19th illustrated the nation's precarious over-reliance on a small number of CSPs. In the letter, they say that, quote, that over-reliance is compromising our nation's security and commerce, as the October 19th global outage vividly illustrated, unquote. Make sure to read more from the full story to get additional details on the issues stemming from the frequent cloud outages. Now moving on to other news, federal agencies would be required to report artificial intelligence-related layoffs to the Department of Labor under a new bill from a bipartisan pair of senators. The AI-related Job Impacts Clarity Act from Senators Mark Warner, Democrat of Virginia, and Josh Hawley, Republican of Missouri, calls on agencies and major companies to deliver quarterly reports to the Department of Labor on the impact that AI has on their workforces, detailing job cuts and displacements. Senator Hawley said in a press release that, quote, artificial intelligence is already replacing American workers, and experts project that AI could drive unemployment up to 10 to 20% in the next 5 years. The American people need to have an accurate understanding of how AI is affecting our workforce so we can ensure that AI works for the people, not the other way around, unquote. The bill would also require agencies and companies to report hirings that can be substantially credited to AI, as well as the number of individuals they are retraining because of AI. There's also a call out to keep track of open positions an agency or company decided not to fill because of automation. The Labor Secretary will have some leeway on how to approach parts of the data collection called for in the legislation. Per the bill text, they could either revise an existing survey or team up with the Census Bureau on a survey that would incorporate various AI hiring and firing disclosures. The quarterly Labor Department reports would be prepared in consultation with the Office of Management and Budget and the Office of Personnel Management, summarizing those aforementioned disclosures and publishing the findings on the Bureau of Labor Statistics website. For more news at the intersection of the federal government and technology, make sure to visit fedscoop.com. Thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of the Daily Scoop podcast, available on all podcast platforms. If you've already rated the podcast on your platform of choice, thanks so much. High ratings and good reviews of the show help more people to find it. The Daily Scoop podcast is a production of the Scoop News Group in Washington, D.C. Adam Butler and Carlin Fisher help put the show together, and the entire Scoop News Group team contributes. We'll be back tomorrow with more top headlines. Until then, I'm your host, as always, Billy Mitchell. Thanks so much for listening.